getting to go to theaters as much. Like we had COVID, we have streamers, and like I love a good stream, but like the movie experience is so special, and it's something that I looked forward to so much as a kid. It's something I look forward to as an adult, and it's rare that something like pulls you into theaters like that. And now if you are going to theaters, it's for a big, I don't want to say it, I love superhero movies, especially a certain Deadpool and Wolverine. And it's amazing though, but like that's a great example. Watching Deadpool and Wolverine in an audience of people, if you're watching that at home, like it's just there's the human experience, like people watching and feeling together, laughing and crying, and like you walk out and you feel connected with strangers in a way that's just like there's nothing like it. And this movie, they don't really turn books like this into movies anymore. And you're not really seeing movie stars be made anymore. I mean, this is her first.
Hey friends, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. So many of you have told me that when I say I just noticed something, you know it's going to be good. Well, buckle up because I just noticed something about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's case that's really interesting. First, I want to take a sec to thank you all for the insane support lately. So many of you sharing my videos, new subscribers, it means the world. I know my takes aren't always the popular opinion, and that's okay. There are tons of voices out there, and I love that you've got options. Me, I can only share what I find based on my experience. For those who are new here, I've been running this channel for 6-7 years now, but before that, I was a writer doing investigative work for nearly a decade. I've covered countless criminal and civil cases, plus I've been sued myself, more than once. So I've seen how judges rule, how federal versus state court works, and how messy civil litigation can get. Now, about this case, it's civil, not criminal. No one's going to jail. Everything in the complaint? Just allegations right now. And here's the thing, civil complaints often throw everything at the wall. Some true, some exaggerated, some just flat-out lies protected by legal privilege. But here's what's wild. Justin Baldoni, he's got receipts. Blake? Not so much. And last week? Oh man, things got really juicy. Okay, let's break down Blake's motion to dismiss. This is where things get legally fascinating. A lot of us got hung up on California's anti-SLAPP law, Code 47-1, which protects people from retaliatory lawsuits when they report harassment. But here's the catch. Justin's team isn't just suing for defamation, they've added extortion claims, which changes everything. This extortion angle is crucial because it shows alleged malice, making it much harder for Blake to hide behind anti-SLAPP protections. And here's why this matters. Baldoni's team has compiled an extensive timeline showing how Blake's fight for creative control directly overlaps with her harassment claims. In her dismissal motion, Blake claims she never gained extra creative control through her harassment allegations. But that directly contradicts the 17-point agreement she keeps referencing. That document literally includes provisions about resolving creative disputes through third-party mediation. Ask yourself, why would creative differences even be mentioned in a harassment claim? Why would she need control over dailies, editing, or who interacts with her on set if this was purely about harassment? These inconsistencies are glaring. Now, here's some tea. A Reddit user obtained court transcripts from their February hearing. Shout out to those dedicated legal sleuths. The judge pointed out something huge. Blake's complaint reads more like affirmative claims than a standard harassment case. The media missed this nuance completely. They rushed out stories without explaining how the judge questioned Blake's team about these apparent contradictions. When you look at the full picture, it's hard not to see how her creative control demands undermine her harassment claims. Let's unpack what's really happening in this legal showdown. The judge made a crucial observation about Blake's complaint. It doesn't just allege harassment. It presents what looks like counterclaims to Wayfair's version of events. Here's why that's a problem for her team. The judge essentially said, "You're telling a completely different story than Wayfair. This isn't just a harassment case, it's competing narratives." He even suggested they might need to file actual counterclaims instead of doubling down on dismissal. But Blake's team refused, opting to amend their complaint, which only added more affirmative claims. Now, here's the kicker. For the motion to dismiss, the judge has to consider both sides as potentially true. He can't just take Blake's harassment claims at face value if Wayfair's evidence, like those damning Sony emails, paints a totally different picture. And let's be real, if their evidence suggests extortion or creative takeover attempts, that directly undermines her. Retaliation argument. Blake's team keeps insisting this is only about harassment. But the judge isn't buying it. Every ruling so far hints he sees two plausible stories here. Blake's version, retaliation for speaking out. Wayfair's version, extortion masked as harassment claims. And the timeline of events? That's the smoking gun. Wayfair's lawyers freaked out over pages 80-82, where Blake allegedly threatened to sabotage promotion unless she got control. They're desperate to seal it because it makes their case look really bad. Let's examine Blake's motion to dismiss, and how it compares to the actual complaints. On page 5, she claims Justin acknowledged on-set harassment, citing his comments about her appearance in photos. But as director, wasn't he just addressing legitimate audience concerns about her wardrobe when photos drew criticism? That's not harassment. She also alleges a simulated nude scene was filmed without an intimacy coordinator. Shocking until you learn Blake herself wrote and directed this shower scene showing only her shoulders. How can this be harassment when she created it? Then there's Justin's comment about marital intimacy, which only came up when Blake said she'd be mortified if her character's scene played out a certain way. His response about beautiful moments with his wife was clearly about character development, not harassment. Finally, she accuses him of improvising romantic scenes, standard acting practice that Blake also participated in. As paragraph 91 shows, this pattern reveals how Blake is twisting normal creative discussions into false harassment claims. When you see the full context, her allegations completely unravel. Lively was clearly leading the unplanned kissing in. One take, pulling Boni in and kissing him once, then twice, completely on her own terms. The number of kisses depended entirely on her mood. Boni, a seasoned actor known for playing the romantic lead in Jane the Virgin for 5 years, is used to rehearsing and filming scenes multiple times, often with different variations, without needing permission while in character. Now, Lively is upset over an innocent improvisation he allegedly made. Yet, on set, they both treated their roles professionally, doing their jobs as expected. If improvisation was off limits, how was Boni, supposed to know considering Lively herself, repeatedly demonstrated that spontaneous romantic moments were just part of the job? They're now claiming Boni admitted to improvising and calling it harassment. Yet that same paragraph describes how there's actual footage of Lively initiating kisses. There's even documented evidence of her pulling him in for another kiss, despite later making him sign that infamous document. Another claim involves Heath being in Lively's trailer while she had her body makeup removed. She asked him to turn away while they talked, and while he did so, he may have made eye contact at some point. Later, apologizing when she mentioned it made her uncomfortable. So now, even accidental eye contact is harassment? What's more, Heath only entered the trailer because Lively invited him. In paragraph 104, they even state that Boni and Heath were led into situations later framed as harassment. Lively regularly breastfed or pumped milk in front of Boni while they had meetings. She invited Heath into her trailer for a work meeting, while her makeup was being removed as she wasn't available at another time. Her nanny, makeup artist, and assistant were present, and she was fully covered. Heath was asked to turn away and did so, with other producers just outside. He later apologized after she said his brief eye contact made her uncomfortable, and she responded, "I know you weren't trying to cop a look." Yet this is still being spun as proof of harassment. Another claim? Boni hiring a friend to play an obstetrician in a birth scene where he'd be near her lower body. But how else would a birth scene be filmed? If the script says a doctor catches the baby, how does that suddenly become inappropriate? Lively's claim that Boni inappropriately cast a personal friend as the obstetrician during her birth scene is misleading. Boni simply cast a skilled actor who happened to be a friend, just like Lively's sister was cast for being her sister. The actor playing the obstetrician isn't just some random friend, but a highly trained, award-winning performer with an MFA from UCLA. He's appeared in hit TV shows, toured with a Tony-winning company, and attended Oxford's acting program on a full scholarship. His talent and experience speak for themselves. Lively now claims she was uncomfortable when Boni introduced him as a friend and allowed him to play a role that required him to be near her lower body, calling the experience invasive and humiliating. But what exactly is she implying? That a respected professional would have an inappropriate interest in being near her during a simulated birth scene? She even exaggerated, claiming she was barely covered, when in reality, she was fully clothed with a fabric barrier. So now, simply casting an actor for a medical role is harassment? Then there's the claim about Boni using the word sexy. twice. Paragraph 61 states that Lively herself set the tone for personal discussions on set and openly used the word sexy. In one instance, while filming a restaurant scene, she sat on the floor complaining about her expensive shoes and calling them sexy in front of male crew members. But when Boni used the word sexy in a different context, it suddenly became an issue. She's twisting the situation to make it seem like harassment when that's not what happened at all. And then there's the onesie situation. During a bar scene, everyone was wearing onesies, but Lively covered hers with a big coat. Boni, the director, asked her to remove it so her outfit would match the scene. He mentioned it was hot because the bar had no air conditioning, but Lively misinterpreted this as him calling her attractive. He had only been encouraging her to embrace the wardrobe choice she had personally requested. She later claimed his behavior was inappropriate, even though he apologized multiple times. This is a pattern with Lively. She mixes up her personal feelings with the job, making normal production decisions seem like personal attacks. The way she's framing these statements makes it seem like they were directed at her personally, when in reality, they were part of the film. She's cherry-picking moments from the script and acting as if they happened to her in real life. It's no different than when they were slow dancing, pretending to be in love, and he was gently touching her hair or kissing her forehead. Things that naturally happen in a romantic scene. Yet, she claims he was doing that to her, not to her character, Lily. But the truth is, he wouldn't have been dancing with her at all if not for the film. Every moment is captured on camera, which makes her claims of sexual harassment questionable. A jury would need to separate what she's alleging from what actually happened. If I were on that jury, I wouldn't see her accusations as sexual harassment. It seems more like she's deciding what words and actions she wants to accept, and when she doesn't like something, she labels it harassment. She even engages in certain conversations herself, and then turns around and claims that others doing the same thing are inappropriate. It feels like she's baiting them. If this is how she's starting her motion to dismiss, that's not a good sign. The judge has already indicated that many of her claims read like an alternative explanation for the allegations against her. The judge has to assume Boni's claims are true for now, which means he can't just dismiss them outright. What if Boni didn't sue her solely because of harassment, but because she was using a lawsuit to pressure him for more money? In her motion to dismiss, she never clearly states what money or property she received from Wayfair for supposedly forcing her way into editing the movie without additional pay. The document even highlights this contradiction. Her claim suggests she did more work than required without extra compensation, yet she also insists Wayfair made a fortune from the film's success. And let's not ignore that they only took legal action against her after she filed her lawsuit. That doesn't mean their claims are baseless. It means she was still trying to use the legal system to her advantage. People can use lawsuits as a form of extortion. That's why it's always smart to look at the actual documents. If you're consuming this content, don't just take what's being said at face value. If you can, read the documents yourself. If you can't, that's what I'm here for, to break it down for you. Cross-referencing the facts makes it clear that her claims don't hold up. If this does go to trial, a jury will have to decide if what she's described really meets the legal definition of sexual harassment. Based on what's been presented so far, it's a matter of different interpretations rather than actual misconduct. It doesn't meet the standard of what most people would consider harassment. So, what do you think? Her lawyers are clearly worried about the extortion timeline and want it removed from the record, but that doesn't erase the evidence. Now that you've seen what they're calling sexual harassment, do you really believe a judge is going to throw this case out? Or did she just expose herself even more? The judge already hinted that her claims don't just look like allegations, they read like a counter story, which could cause her serious legal trouble. These kinds of claims can lead to counter lawsuits, more legal complications, or even be dismissed as completely baseless. I think the judge is catching on to what's happening here, just like Sony did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.